we're going to try something new where you're going to listen to a little bit of video and then try a question similar to that particular type. And we'll see if that is more helpful. So first we're going to start with a quadratic equation where something squared equals a positive number. I know immediately that there are going to be two solutions. Don't forget that. So then I ask myself, what squared equals 4? And I know that they're going to be both a positive 2 and a negative 2. All right, now you try one. The second kind of question is going to be when it's a little more complicated. What happens if I have a whole quantity equaling some positive number? This is where I say to myself, I know that the thing inside the parentheses has to either be 6 or negative 6, because if I square those numbers, I get to 36. So now I have to make the inside, which says x plus 3, turn into 6, or I have to make the inside turn into negative 6. And then I solve those equations. So I get x is 3, or I get x is negative 9. And it's really helpful to plug your answer all the way back in at the top and say, does 3 plus 3 is 6 squared 36? Yes. And then how about if I plugged a negative 9 in there? If I plugged a negative 9 right here, negative 9 plus 3 is negative 6, and negative 6 times negative 6 is also 36. So I know I found the right answers. X is 3 and x is negative 9. Now you go ahead and you try one of those. So how about absolute value? If absolute value of x equals a positive number, then again, I know immediately that I have two solutions. So in this case, x can be positive or negative 5. Try one. What happens if it gets a little more complicated? Again, I know that this entire thing has to turn into a 3 or a negative 3. So I write my two equations. Either x minus 1 is 3 or x minus 1 is negative 3. And then I solve from there, like good old-fashioned equation solving. And I get my two answers of positive 4 and negative 2, and I like to check them. Is 4 minus 1 3, and is the absolute value 3? It is. And what if I plug a negative 2 in here? I get negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3, and the absolute value is 3. I feel pretty good that I got my answers right. Go ahead and try that one. Now let's do some square roots. The square root of x equals 4. This time we're only going to have one answer. Just one, because I can't take the square root of a negative number. What number can I take the square root of to get 4? And we talked about if I take this number and I square it, I'm going to figure out what that number is. So x has to be 16. Let's check it. What's the square root of 16? 4. All right, I did it right. Go ahead and try one. And what if that gets a little more complicated? I still know that I have one solution, but I now know I want the thing on the inside to turn into a 49, because 7 squared is 49. The square root of 49 is 7. So now I write my equation. What makes the inside become 49? And I solve. And I get x equals 54. Go ahead and try it. And the last thing is, when any of these things that we've been working on equals a negative number, We know the answer is NRS. No real solution. Try one of those. Okay, hopefully that was helpful to do them piece by piece. Now we've mixed them up for your homework and see how you do. If you have problems, make sure you ask us for help. Looking forward to hearing how this went.